So I'm going to do a portrait of Alex Pretti on stream today. Alex Pretti being the individual who was shot and killed by ICE in Minneapolis a couple of days ago. Certainly not the first, but I would say that his killing is the most egregious example of unaccountable government abuse and overreach that we've had so far. And there's a lot of complicated feelings that go along with any kind of self-respecting, self-reflecting, intellectual consideration of this moment. And as an artist, and as like an artist who's in the business of making content, you have to come to some kind of a conclusion with integrity for like anytime you choose to do something, to render something in your medium that is in any way, I guess, heavy or sacred, or it's not the same thing, but it's something that like it's a calculation that I have to run when like a celebrity dies, and it's like, do I just make a pancake portrait of this celebrity to cash in on a trend? And furthermore, Alex Pretti is not the first and likely not the last person to be killed by ICE or police violence, or he's a white man who was killed, and there's definitely a lot to be said about all of the other people who our psychotic political system has emergently arrived at the conclusion that it's actually fine for them to have been shot. But this one's the one too far. And like, I think even as I go into doing this pancake today, like I just want to be clear that like I understand that. I think that in this particular case, there is such an overwhelming disconnect between what we can all see with our eyes and ears and what the administration is saying, that this, at least for me, I really realized this was my line in the sand. And not to say that I wasn't, I feel like saying that might be a miscommunication of what I'm trying to say, because all the other deaths, my personal line in the sand was a lot earlier, but I have allowed other people in my life, family members especially, to remain connected to me without interrogating this together, because I guess I almost feel like it's a further development of my own like lack of boundaries, my own a latent lack of self-respect that I've had with people, that I didn't feel confident enough to argue or advocate certain things, and so there would always be just this sliver of plausible deniability that would just make a conversation with these family members go kind of nowhere. And I think if you were on the stream last week, you heard me talk a little bit about my trans cousin who killed himself, and the funeral was recently, and how that like threw a bunch of my relationships with conservative family members into a particular, it changed me, and it changed the way that I show up in those relationships, because I kind of realized that the way that, as much as I actively try to practice radical Christ-like love, like I really do see that as a virtuous ideal, as something that you should try to love everyone. You should try to love monstrous people, because you don't have to leave yourself vulnerable to do so. That there's a difference between loving someone and tolerating their BS. And so I've always felt strongly that like people need to be loved if they're going to change. There needs to be a way for them to come back. But what I'm realizing also is that like if you don't have boundaries, if you don't have thresholds, and if you don't have like a limit on what you will continue to show up for, some people won't ever, like it's the act of you continuing to allow them to have a relationship with you will make them feel as though they don't ever actually have to change. And I guess I've just kind of realized that that's not true for me anymore. That if you can look at the videos of Alex Pretti being gunned down in the street and land at the conclusion that he shouldn't have been there, or this is somehow his fault, or he shouldn't have brought a gun, or, you know, this is the fault of the Democratic politicians who, like, if you can't literally just say, even outside of like the Trump administration stuff, if you can't literally just say these fucking agents with their trigger happy guns need to receive consequences, if you can't say that, then no matter what you might think about me, about my relationship to you, about politics, whatever, if you can't see that, you would make excuses for anybody doing the exact same thing to me. And it is encouraging to see that there's so many people in like the NRA and like the Libertarian Party, like plenty of people who often fall on, I would say, the wrong side of a lot of issues, are aligning on this one. And so to still have family members who can't admit it, who are so attached to the ego supply they get from their fealty to this ideology, I have been struggling a lot the last few days with that, for better or for worse. You know, I know that that in and of itself is just a reflection of my own privilege. You know, like the fact that I'm only struggling about my relationships with conservative family members now is kind of like, it's just, I didn't realize that when it was this blatant and in your face, that these people, I always had faith that these people would be able to see it, and they can't. And that is a cult. Like that is like, it's taken me a long time to accept that, like, it's like, the brain's broken. You can't look at reality. And it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter what your stated ideals are, it doesn't matter what your principles are, there's no principles. There's no, all the principles are just fake. They're just like superficial catchphrases that they don't actually understand or examine, and they don't have the capacity to evaluate that, whether or not they're actually being honored. So yeah, it doesn't help that my skin's been freaking the fuck out. I'm not sure how much you can tell on stream, but yeah, there's like eczema on my face and like allergy stuff. So today, my intention is to do a portrait of Alex Pretti, the legal observer, I guess is the correct phrase. And sometimes I feel like there's a lot of like PC journalism phrasing that ends up coming across as like an anti-dog whistle. Like, he was a legal observer, he's not illegal, he's undocumented. Like, there's all like, language is constantly used as a technology for control and manipulation by everybody. So maybe I have misgivings about even using the correct liberal terminology to refer to any given actor in any given situation. But like, this was just a dude filming, trying to do the right thing, and succeeding, right? Succeeding in doing the right thing, because ultimately, if you're not allowed to hold state actors accountable by documenting their actions without being assaulted and shot on the street, we have no rights. And like, so yeah, I'm gonna do a portrait of this guy because my hope is that his death will actually make some fucking change. Culturally, politically, whatever. But just like, because ultimately, if it doesn't, right? And if it goes back to normal, none of us have a future, right? Like, if there's any slim hope for any of us to have a future on the other side of this psychopathic administration, we have to fight back collectively. We have to wake up. We have to say no. We have to stop obeying. We have to cause problems on purpose, so to speak, right? We have to document more. We have to organize general strikes. We have to, like, all of these things have to be on the table. And as an individual, it's overwhelming because it's like, I don't even know what the hell I can do, right? I don't even know what actively I can do. Like, obviously, if there's protests that I can get to, it's like, okay, I can go participate in a protest, but even that feels like this abstract, vague thing. If you have the opportunity to document and hold accountable law enforcement, because, ICE is not technically supposed to be enforcing the law. They're supposed to be freaking paper pushers and paperwork agents. So this whole thing is insane. But like, yeah, if this isn't a moment of profound revolutionary consciousness building, then we are screwed completely. Like, if we want to have any shot of avoiding a future in which we are literally being lined up and gassed for our political opinions, this has to be the line in the sand. And that's the thing that I kind of realize with my family, is that, like, if you can look at this and accept it, then you are creating a future in which me and my wife and my friends and my family, the people who are closest to me, the people who I trust, the people who I can really be radically authentic with, whether you realize it or not, you want us dead. Because that's where we're going. We've seen it before. And something that really, I will get to the pancake, I promise. But something that really frustrates the bejesus out of me is, like, in conversations with my parents, I'll hit this block where it's like, if I use words that they don't understand, like Zionism or something, they get mad, they get upset that I'm talking circles around them, and I'm really not trying to. And it's there's this anti-intellectualism embedded in our nation that, like, all you have to do is read a book. All you have to do is read a book, right? Be curious about the past. Read something about World War II. Hannah Arendt's The Banality of Evil, right? Like, all you have to do is read a little bit. And the suggestion fills people with so much shame and anger that it is completely inaccessible to them. To the point where they can't even listen to you talk about what you have learned from reading books. Okay. I appreciate you telling me that, Mr. Patrick Twitch. Let me, does that... It's probably because I'm not talking directly at the microphone. No, it's okay. I needed to hear that, if I'm going to be here for a while. I need to find a way to set my stuff up so that, like, I can look at the camera and talk into the microphone at the same time. Ugh. Thank you. I definitely... I swear I'm planning to make pancakes at some point. Where was I? Reading books. Right. Just the... I don't know, man. Not right now. We can talk about that another time. Putting up curtains. Oh dear. I'm gonna be real with y'all. This sweater is not cutting it. I forgot how hot it gets in here next to the griddle. So we're doing away with that. Hard to be a person, man. Oy vey. This lifetime autoimmune condition I've developed in the last few years is brutal. If I overheat, it just kind of messes me up. I'll be all right. Okay. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot more I really need to say. I'm sure things will come up while I'm working, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my reference image centered on my screen over here, and yeah, let's go to the overhead. What do you say? So today we're going to do a portrait of Alex Pretti, the man who was gunned down in the Minneapolis streets by ICE in front of a frickin' donut shop. Because the universe has a sense of irony. It is, I have cried a little bit, which is not normal for me with these kinds of shootings and stuff. Like, I think I, like most Americans, are pretty freaking desensitized to violence. Like, I think the last time I had, like, a really strong reaction to an act of, like, hyper-violence, there was a mass shooting in Paris. It must have been like 2019 or 2020, but it was like an ISIS shooting at a concert. I seem to remember the Eagles of Death Metal were supposed to be performing, and I remember I was in not a great place in general, and my fear and paranoia hit like a fever pitch that day. Like, I remember that very strongly. But since then, it's like you just get so numb and used to it that it's like, okay, another 50 people got murdered, like, whatever, it's never gonna change, like, this is where we live. This is just like, it's literally like a weather pattern here. But I think, this one hit me just because, like, it was specifically seeing the video of Alex Pretti, like, delivering the final rites for a veteran in the VA hospital where he worked as an ICU nurse. It was kind of this moment of, like, this dude's life for society, for community, for America, he was providing so much more spiritual, emotional, and social value to us than the agents who killed him. Like, you could trade his single life for the lives of all of them, and the world would be better for it. I was like, this is such a sad tragedy. Like, dude dedicated his life to doing truly benevolent acts for people in the world who needed it, for people who my whole life I've been raised to believe, like, veterans are like we don't take good enough care of our veterans, and like the system doesn't take good enough care of our veterans, and we have to take better care of our veterans. Like, and here's a guy who does it, and now the same administration that doesn't take care, like the same, not, and I won't even say the same administration, because it's not like the Democrats would do better about like veteran care or whatever, like maybe marginally, but like they are all part of the same system. They're all part of the same cancer. They're all part of the same reason we're here. And the thing that was the line in the sand for me with my family is that if you can't see that, you aren't a good guy. You're not on the right team at this point, right? Like, because I'm not going to sit here and defend Biden. I'm not going to sit here and defend a Clinton. I don't hate myself. But like, if you can't recognize the tragedy of what we lost in a person like this, doing what he was doing to try and make the world a little bit safer for people in his community, if you can't recognize that, then like, you're lost. You are lost. You're in a death cult. Whether you think you are or not, you're in a death cult, and you will be the death of all of us if we don't stop you. So, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna use the grid. I mean, I'll use the grid for like proportions and stuff. But normally when I do a portrait at a live event, I just kind of go. I just kind of do my best. For better or for worse. Like, maybe I should use the grid. Maybe it'd help me do a better job on his likeness, but I'm just going to give it a shot. And if I decide I don't like the final result, we'll reconsider using the grid, you know? What's going on here? I'm already unhappy. It's, yeah, I messed that line up, so we're just gonna start off.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
I do hope that things like general strike, I know that like a general strike is a tall order, and I know that like most of us are not in a position to jive with something like that, but it is the only option that is not all-out civil war. I believe, because if we don't have any other leverage, if we don't have any non-violent leverage like that, if we can't just collectively withhold our labor in some meaningful capacity, you don't get out of this outcome without reacting to violence with violence. If unjust violence is unchecked and unaccountable and is being done repeatedly to people for unjust reasons, and you allow it to continue, it will continue. And if you don't think it'll come to your doorstep, you're wrong. Read a freaking book, you know? I'm sorry if it makes you anxious to hear that there are things from history that you can learn. I'm sorry if it makes you feel like you're not smart. I didn't tell you that. They did. They told you weren't smart enough to know this stuff so that they could play you like a fucking fiddle. So if you want a future that is not brutal, all-out civil conflict, you have to give people options. You have to give them a course of action for improving their life. That isn't just oppressing other people, right? Like, you could improve your life, get a $50,000 signing bonus if you join ICE. It's like, dude, do you know what a Faustian bargain is? Probably not, because you don't fucking read. It really makes me mad. It really makes me mad that, like, you can't even talk to these people because having more knowledge than them makes them upset. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're supposed to, I don't even know how to deal with that. I don't even know what to do about that. So, I'm just gonna make some pretty pictures, talk about what's on my mind. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, I've done it before on stream, and it's something I feel is worth revisiting, which is just that, like, what is joy to me, you know? Like, what is the joy of pancakes? What is our, like, because when you're gonna, I mean, at this point, like, the stream is like, this is out and out a political opinion stream. Like, I am telling you exactly what I think and feel about American politics and American political factions, and that is not something we've really done a lot of with our brand, and it is a decision, right? Like, it is not something to be done or to be done casually, because there's consequences, right? There's always consequences if you decide to either become or not become a brand that talks openly about political opinions and ideology and what's right and what's wrong. And like, if you want to get into that space, you have to be prepared that is inherently controversial. It is something that I am proud to do that kind of stuff, because it always has felt more, it's courageous, it's authentic, it's truthful. Even if you have opinions that aren't correct, I still think it's truthful, and I still think it's useful to voice incorrect opinions so that you can have a dialogue and update them. So you have to be, I do like that like Elon Musk free speech maximalism shit. There's a part of that I agree with, that like you have to be free to say things, but that's presuming that the conversation is had in a good faith dynamic, which it is never had in these days, especially because we have the conversations on social media. Like, these platforms are inherently bad faith because they reward bad faith engagement with more engagement. They reward it because it outrages people. And so, like, yeah, like, I very much am like, I think it's good to have, like, free speech debates about the truth, so to speak. I just think that the effectiveness of those conversations is seriously limited by the mechanics of the underlying platforms in which we are actually having those conversations, and that is it's a catch-22 or whatever, right? Like, there's a lot of like cynical, bad faith bastards out there. I think if we actually did have tools and technology for facilitating good faith debates, we would have a lot more political and social consensus. But a huge part of the reason we don't have that political and social consensus is because it's all just a big, dumb game so that a handful of shareholders can make money off of advertisements. And it's really tragic, because the ultimate human cost of that is the fracturing of American relationships in American families, and the destruction of democracy, and, you know, like, the inability of our political system to actually address the needs of the people for whom that system is meant to serve. And the substitution of a political awareness of what those needs even are for derivative bullshit, short-sighted arguments about like trans people in bathrooms and stuff, right? Like, that becomes the main thing that people are afraid of. Are trans people allowed to use the bathroom associated with their gender? And are Muslims gonna take over the world? And is Zohran Mamdani gonna put Sharia law on every New Yorker? Like, it's so stupid. It's so profoundly stupid. And it's gotten this way because there's just so much incentive in the owners of capital, in the owners of the systems, to not change the system, because the system is the source of where they get all their power, where they get all their agency, and their capacity to have a nice, comfortable life where they buy all the islands they want and stuff. It's like, there's no spiritual or moral backbone underpinning these people. Like, you know, I think part of it's one of the like weird paradoxes of this whole dynamic is that, like, when people talk about like making America great again, and they harken back to a time when like it was like being an American was like a source of pride, and it's like there were problems, right? Like, there was segregation, and there was like racism and homophobia, and like it was not a golden age for a lot of people. But even so, returning war veterans had a sense of honor. They had a sense of duty to the people that they worked with, even though that they had that qualifier of like only if you're like a white person. Like a lot of people had that messed up calculus in their brain, and so it is not right to say that the world was better then, because it was better for a very set of people. But even those people, it was better because there was still a sense of honor and obligation that got hollowed out thanks to like Reagan and the 80s and the corporate raiders who decided, like the invention of layoffs, and Jack Welch, the like former CEO of General Motors and stuff like that. Like, we have been eroding the spiritual fiber of our society for a long time, and it's because people aren't ashamed of being selfish, individualistic, psychopathic capitalists in pursuit of profit above all else. They don't feel any emotional or social responsibility. They don't feel any consequence. They just are paranoid and protective over what's theirs, over the little sliver of money and wealth and power that they've been able to carve out for themselves. They become very hollow-hearted, small-minded, cartoonishly evil buffoons. And then we give them all the power in the world because our system derives power from how much money you can have. And if you don't like it, you can buy other people out. If you don't like the way that you feel on a social media platform, you can just buy it. You can just buy the social media platform and then ban anybody who says mean things to you. Like, it's pathetic, the whole thing. This is also why I have been so interested in alternative technologies like cryptocurrency, NFTs and things like that, which I know might seem like a weird segue, but it's like, I don't know how we are supposed to have a functioning society with like a town square and opinions that aren't hijacked by psychopathic special interests unless we develop technologies that disincentivize that kind of behavior, that inherently disincentivize that kind of behavior. And that is like, how do you do that, right? How are you supposed to disincentivize the prioritization of like selfish profit seeking? And I think a lot of people feel like there's no way you can do that with technology. Like, what are you talking about? And I don't know if now is a great time for me to talk about this at length, because I don't know that I'm prepared to, but I've seen in the time that I've spent screwing around with blockchain applications, that there is the potential in this technology to change the incentive structure underpinning a lot of profit seeking. That there's a way to make it so that like you can see the benefit of others as inherently beneficial to yourself, in a way that the current model of the current economic framework does not present. And I mean, I come back to it because you so desperately want to have this feeling of like hope and direction, and like there is a point and a purpose to continuing to work creatively towards something. There's a way that things can shake out that will I don't know, make a difference, make the world better for you and the people you love, for the people in your community, for people like this, people like Alex Pretti and Renee Good, and I mean, all the other people that have been screwed over by this system, this administration, and I don't know. It's just something to talk about sometimes. I think this is a very sort of therapeutic practice for me. Why don't I like that? Let me turn that down a little bit. I feel like maybe his nose needs to be a little bit longer. Now's the time to change that. Yeah, we're gonna do that again. Doing that Van Dyke Z. Let's see, let's try that one more time. So we're gonna come to maybe here. And then we'll go to here. That feels a little bit better. I think it's like maybe a millimeter of difference. But hey, a millimeter's a millimeter, baby. It is in fact enough to matter with the characterization of a person. Trying to do like actual portraiture can be very, very finicky. Especially when you're trying to do justice to somebody, right? Like you want it to actually look like them. Fortunately, this is a portrait of a white man with a beard, which immediately is easy mode on portraiture, because you can phone a lot of that stuff in, and it'll still kind of look like him, even if it's a little bit off proportionally and stuff like that. You know, obviously you don't want to phone it in per se, but it is a little bit easier to fudge certain details when you're dealing with somebody who has like an easily identified, like a big, easily identified dark shape on the bottom half of their face. I don't know what's going to happen politically for this administration. They don't play fair, and you also have to keep in mind that they are driven by an existential need to stay in control. And when I say existential need to stay in control, what I mean is that if they ever lose power, they have to face the music. And the music for them is that they are all participating in a massive cover-up for protecting elite pedophiles, right? That's just true. If you don't think that's true, I've got a bridge to sell you, right? Like, regardless of whether you, and again, this is not left versus right? Like the idea that like, oh, it's the right wing and the conservatives are the ones that are defending pedophiles. It's like, no, the whole power apparatus of our country is doing that. And this, like, it's kind of a kayfabe, good cop, bad cop kind of thing. Like, that is, this system is existentially set on holding on to power desperately so that they can all get away with sexually trafficking underage people. It's like one of the most clear, universal human sins, right? The most like everybody basically, or at least everybody, I guess, in the working class, because apparently people that are rich and powerful don't agree with this, but everybody in the working class basically agrees that like sexually trafficking minors is like one of the most unforgivable sins, if not the most unforgivable sin. And so the entire administration is now, they've all kind of, it's like an in for a penny, in for a pound. Like now that they're all lying and defending that, they can't let go of power. Because if they ever do, like I said, the musical chairs ends and they will face consequences. Reputational. I'm personally of the opinion that if we ever are fortunate enough to live in a world where that happens, those consequences need to be the most severe. They need to be the most severe, because you don't leave somebody who lives that way. You don't leave them lying around somewhere to fester. That is a bad idea. This is not even like, it can't be about vindication. It can't be about revenge. It can't be about spite. It can't be about, like some like deeply conservative punitive ideology of like punishment. It's not about that. It's about protecting society from that way of thinking, disincentivizing people from ever thinking that that's okay ever again. And like, I feel like that's what justice is really about. Is it's about like, no, you have to have ethical standards to create a society that is not horrid to live in. There has to be consequences, and those, it's not about like some ideal of, like I said, it's not about punishment, right? It's not about like being vindictive, and it's not about catharsis, right? It's not about catharsis. It's about creating reality. It's about creating reality and like making it clear that certain forms of behavior are completely unacceptable. And so keep in mind, you know, that like through this whole process, like even if you take morality and you take judgment, you take emotion out of it, and you just think about it in terms of like a I don't know, like political strategy or just like a game strategy. Like you have to be mindful that like the people who are doing the murders in the street, signing off on them, lying about them, and continuing to dump our tax dollars into killing us. The reason that they're doing that, and the reason that they desperately cannot ever face accountability, is because what accountability looks like, what real, authentic accountability that actually cares about justice, what it actually looks like is like a mortal threat to these people. Like if you get on stage in front of the whole world and lie about things like this to protect people, and you're willing to execute people in the street to divert attention from it, and then lie about that too, if you're willing to build this edifice, this whole castle of lies to protect people who are doing the most evil things in the world, like there's nothing you won't do, right? There's nothing, as long as you can get away with it. As long as you can get away with it, you will do it all. And come up, there's no limit to what you will justify. There's no limit to what you will perpetrate. I have never heard any of these people apologize for being wrong about something. I have never heard any of these people admit to participating in a thing that would like it feels like they're lost. Like they're souls that have made a calculation that this is how they need to achieve love and safety and some kind of I don't know, some kind of belonging, and it's not real, and it's psychotic, and they've goaded a bunch of our friends and family and loved ones into going along with them. And now, to be clear, if you don't actually have power, and if you're just a supporter, I don't think that you deserve mortal consequences. That's not what I'm saying. You're just a moron, right? Like but anybody who actually is knowingly deceiving these people, is knowingly and cynically making the calculation that their integrity is not that important, as long as it allows them to get power and to shape the world the way that they think the world should be shaped, that their priority is not these other ideals like integrity, honor, justice. If you've run the numbers in your head and made that calculation, and you're in a position of power, and you're using the gullibility of the American people to achieve that, that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, no. We've seen what happens in the past when we don't. We know from those same damn books I keep reading. We know what happens when you don't have dire consequences, right? You know, people are constantly quoting they bring up the Nuremberg trials comes up a lot, and I'm like, well, the Nuremberg trials are like there's a lot of people who got away with shit, right? Like there was a lot of compromises made. And I don't expect this to be any different, like if and when history bends back, and it will, because that's another thing you learn from history is that like you can't maintain a house of lies indefinitely. It's against the laws of freaking physics. Like you can't surround yourself with people who are chosen based on their loyalty as opposed to their competence forever until that comes to bite you in the ass. It's already doing it, right? Like it's already happening. If you pick morons because the morons are on your team over intelligent people who might push back on your crazy ideas, eventually the rubber meets the road and you find out that reality has laws, like actual hard laws that cannot be whisked away by an AI generated image or something, right? Like hungry people don't stay hungry for long, that type of shit. And so the bill will come due eventually. We as individuals have to make sure that when that happens, we actually exact the cost, that we have the courage and the backbone to learn from history and not let people have gotten away with it, right? And we also have to stay alive in the meantime, right? We can't let it kill us. We can't, you can't quit. You can't kill yourself. You can't give in to despair. Because if you do that, you never get to see them lose. You have to stay alive. You have to stay around. You have to embody revolutionary optimism, right? Like you have to believe that there's a point. Believe that we're going to get there. Because if you don't, you never will. So you have to start there. You have to start with the belief that no, this is unacceptable. It will remain unacceptable. I am brave enough to believe that me saying it being unacceptable, if I ever get any consequences for talking about this stuff openly, good, whatever, I don't care. It's not what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with my time on this earth? Just lie to myself? You want me to live a half life so that you can have all the power and so that you can abuse little girls and so that you can kill people in the street with impunity and so that you can it's like these people, it's all daddy issues and shit. Half of them, their parents are gone. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna love you. Nobody's gonna celebrate you. You're never gonna get any peace, or you're not gonna live forever. You're not gonna it's just so childish and stupid. Childish and stupid. It's I don't know, man. I feel like I'm just kind of ranting at this point. But I'm upset. And yeah, you have to stay alive. It's not optional. You have to keep showing up. You have to stay alive. And you have to know that your participation in the story and that you showing up, being authentic and having a fucking spine is valuable on its own. It doesn't matter if it doesn't get you a big fancy job or a big fancy house or something. That being brave and telling the truth is revolutionary on its own, because so much of the systems that we're in, we've arrived at because people aren't brave, because they're so scared, and they're such pathetic little fucking worms that they would rather be safe and protected in a big house than live a life of integrity and a life of courage. These values are you can't put a price tag on them, and people are well, everybody's got a price, and it's well, not if you're smart, because at the end of the day, if you are a philosophical person at all, if you actually think about the nature of reality, why we're here, these sorts of questions of what's the point, you realize that nobody gets out of this shit alive. And would you rather have all of your material needs met and never feel secure? Or would you rather have ironclad security in yourself, in your spirit, in your nature, even if you're stressed about money most of the time? Like, which one do you think is actually a more pleasant human experience? If you're being completely honest with yourself, and if you're really in touch with spiritual truth, which one do you think is a more pleasant way to move through the world? I have made my conclusion, and it is the second, right? I don't need resources. I don't need money in order to feel like I'm right with God, I guess, you know? Like, and I mean, I guess, like, I think about God a lot in like sort of a secular lens, that like, I'm right with the universe. I'm right with my sense of right and wrong. I like myself, right? And I don't need to have a billion likes on Facebook to continue liking myself. I don't need to own Twitter to hear people tell me I should like myself in order to like myself. It's a much nicer way to live. And if you can't see it, it's like a brain disease. It's a mental illness. It's bad for you. And it's like that needs to be a much, much more popular awareness. Like, people need to understand that in their bones. Kids need to understand that. Young people who are like turn into, I guess Andrew Tate kind of fell the fuck off. But like that same kind of like clavicular and, you know, the online shit posting generation of taking nothing seriously, everything's ironic. You like accidentally meme yourself into becoming an actual freaking Nazi. People like that need to be reached with messages that are like, no, dude, that is not masculinity, that's not manhood, that's not courage, that's not, and even aside from those things, it's also just a miserable way to live. It's a miserable, pathetic little way to live your life. And if somebody is telling you that that's the right way to go, they're lying to you. They're selling you a bridge. They're trying to exploit you and fill their own father-sized hole. And it's like, you gotta draw a line. Let me see. Alex, where's your... Got that V-neck. It's like, I never met this person. But like, damn, dude. What a real motherfucker. Like, this is the model of masculinity that like, what a fucking hero. Wasn't trying to give his life. Did. Was trying to help people in his community. Was brave. Was honorable. Was cut down early. Died for a cause. Wasn't even trying to, and died for a cause. Like, nobody was paying him to be there, right? Like, that's something the you know, where was this outrage for Charlie Kirk? Like, Charlie Kirk was paid to spread political propaganda on behalf of the wealthiest people in the world. This is not controversial, right? For anybody who's actually got a brain, this is not a controversial statement. To be paid to spread political propaganda in service of the richest people in the world, you don't get a lot of mourning from the general public for that. Because why do I give a shit? I am so desensitized to violence, man. Like, so the idea that like I'm supposed to hold these people as it's just absurd. It's so absurd and cynical, and like it's just freaking dumb. And yeah, I don't know. I have never been this forthright, I guess, about these thoughts and feelings and opinions in public like I am right now. And I guess a switch flipped for me, you know? It's like if this is not the line, then there isn't one. And I'm not going to go to the grave feeling like I was a coward. You can leave that to the other Pancake art company. We'll do a little bit of this. I'm worried that I might not have made his face the right proportions. But again, you know, we got time, so if I finish this and we determine that we want to do it again, we can just do it again. How's everybody doing out there? I know I haven't seen Julian and Kay in here yet. Wondering how they're doing. Hopefully okay. I'm thinking, and I've done this once or twice before. I did a Luigi Mangione portrait a little while ago, and I wrote a message on the griddle next to the portrait after I flipped it, and I think I might do something similar here, but I haven't figured out exactly what that message is going to be, and I'm not exactly sure how I would do that, or what I would say exactly, but I generally trust myself to improvise a lot of these things. Cool thing about being a generally honest person and being willing to suffer consequences for being too honest sometimes is that it makes it really easy to do things like, I don't know, show up on the news, you know, like be on TV and stuff like that. Like, you just don't worry about it. You just like, I don't need to stress about saying the right thing, because if I'm being honest and people think I said the wrong thing, who cares? Like, I was being honest. If my priority is being honest, you just don't have to worry about that shit. I'm telling you, man, it's a great way to live. I highly recommend it. I mean, you have to pay a social cost, which is that, like, a lot of relationships won't work out in the long term because a lot of people actually don't like to know what you really think about them. But the good thing is, over time, you start to find people who do really appreciate that, and who appreciate how rare it is to find people who actually believe in that kind of thing. And then you get to build relationships with people like that, which I will tell you from experience, those relationships are objectively superior in every way. They're more sustainable, they're more fulfilling, and one relationship like that is worth a billion relationships that are shallow and inadequate. And yeah, you'll if you're young and learning that shit the hard way, like it is sometimes a very difficult lesson. It literally will leave you with scars. In my case, the stress of my life imploding after something like that is a large part of why I say that why I think that I have the autoimmune condition I now have, that it like activated all of this shit. But you know what? What are we gonna do in terms of color here? I think we're gonna do rainbow. I think I'm gonna do a splatter of all the colors of the rainbow. It's one of my favorite ways to do borders. As soon as I started doing that red one, I was like, let's get the rest of the colors in there as soon as I can, because that looks sus. Make sure that it's wide enough to actually reach the hole. Right here. I still think it's important that people who supported or identified with Trump are people, and they deserve compassion, they deserve forgiveness, they deserve empathy. I just realized that like it's a matter of the survival of people like me under this system, that you can't, if you have no line, if you have no line in the sand, if there's nothing that this administration can do, if there's nothing, no policy that can be done, no overstretch or abuse of power that can happen that'll wake you up, then that is something different than just having thought that this guy was going to fix things. That is a mental illness. I was watching a documentary with my wife last night about the Theranos. The Theranos story, which was that corporation started by Elizabeth Holmes that was going to like revolutionize blood work by making these devices that would do 200 blood tests in like a cabinet under your desk. And it's such a fascinating story because it never worked. The technology never worked, but over the course of it, like more than a decade, this woman managed to get like $900 million worth of investment. The company was valued at over $9 billion at one point. She was on the cover of magazines. She was ingratiated to Obama and Biden and all these political, Larry Ellison, you know, who's now like basically with the Trump regime. Like all of these different like wealthy former Secretary of State and all this kind of like all these people were just, yeah, she's gonna change the world and we're gonna make a bunch of money off of her. And it's like, again, reality always wins, dude. Like reality wins. And I know that sometimes, like, it seems like the universe rewards dishonesty. And there are periods in history where dishonest, unscrupulous, what the I Ching would refer to as inferior people, where they seem to rise through the ranks, and where superior people tend to be ostracized and pushed away and punished and exiled. But it always swings back. And all you have to do, if you're living through a period like that, is survive long enough to see the backswing. Protect yourself, your family, your loved ones. and maintain that spirit of integrity, because it doesn't maintain itself. And there are so many signals that will tell you, like, you know, if you just lie a little bit, if you just fake it till you make it a little bit, if you just do a little bit of deception, you can win big. And like our whole culture is built like that. It will not always be that way. In fact, I want to believe it's changing now, because I think what happens is people get so fed up with the calculus being the way it is. They get so fed up with this cynical, superficial hollowness at the heart of everything that eventually it stops being profitable. Like, it stops being, some people are just like tired of it. I think that there's going to be a lot of kids who grow up in this. Like, I think people freak out about like how Gen Z and Gen Alpha are like really right wing, and it's like, for now, like, those kids are gonna keep being alive. Actually, right before I came in here and started streaming today, I was watching an interview with Ashley St. Clair, who is Elon Musk's recent baby mama, who was like a right-wing influencer who has realized in recent months that like there's nothing there for you, especially as a woman. Like, ultimately these places of fabricated artificial power are spiritually and emotionally hollow. There's nothing there for people that are actually earnest, wholesome, authentic, compassionate souls. And yeah, like, this woman, like, to like ingratiate yourself to Elon Musk, to have a child with him, and then his platform, you're being like harassed and doxxed by countless of his supporters who are using the technology on his platform to automatically generate NSFW content of you around your own children. Like, and like that, like, I'm like, there's no way that man gets away with this scot-free, right? Aside from the fact that he's probably not a happy person, there's no way that on the long arc of history doesn't have consequences. And nobody's gonna be there to have his back when that happens. Like, there's going to be a profound feeling of loneliness and terror, and it's all gonna come crashing down at the same time. And what a way to live, man. What a way to build your life. Nobody did that to you. I mean, I guess you could say his dad messed him up real bad, but like, at some point you have to take accountability, right? At some point you have to actually be like, I did this. So take a look at this camera here, because I always like to film the flips on a different angle. Clear out my stuff soon. There we go. All right. No guide. Freestyle. First pancake of the day. Let's see how this turned out. Alex Pretti. 3, 2, 1. It's okay. I think the colors and all that kind of stuff are really good. I definitely smeared him a little bit, proportionally, you know, kind of like. But I think it's okay. Here we go. Freestyling some thoughts. And you guys can see me working in real time.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
If the killing of Alex Pretti can be in any way justified, then we as American citizens no longer have any rights, and the Constitution becomes a convenient lie for a fascist government to control you. To control you with. I think that's more grammatically correct. I have an impulse to say something like resist, but it feels too lib-coded. feel like there's something else that needs to be said or done. I'm not quite sure. Hang on. I do want to do this real quick. Lost a little bit of this. That's a little bit better. It's subtle, but it's better. I want to say that there's reasons for optimism, and that like the martyrdom of this person in particular. You know, no shade to Renee Good. Like, she didn't deserve to die. I think that she was being heroic as well. And it's literally nothing to do with her character, but the aesthetic markers of Alex Pretti are undeniably, traditionally, classically masculine American man. A cisgender white man who served veterans and believed in the Second Amendment. Gunned down in the street by untrained morons. Like, I want to believe, and maybe I say I want to believe because I don't want to get my hopes up that this will matter, that this will like really matter. But I truly do, I get the vibe that they fucked up. Like, they turned up the heat too fast, caused too much problem, they made the classic mistake. And hang on, I'm gonna go to the face cam here because I got some thoughts. They made the classic mistake that people make when they are surrounded by yes men, because they are inherently cowardly, small-hearted idiots. When they surround themselves with people who tell them exactly what they want to hear, they made the mistake of allowing themselves to believe it, and allowing themselves to believe every little lie that they tell themselves and that they tell each other to stay coherent and to continue doing what they do, right? Like, because in order to survive in that kind of a careerist environment, right, to be a Christy Nome. Yeah, I can turn the music down. I'm just gonna turn it off. Hang on. There we go. Okay. I want to believe that they made the mistake that you make when you surround yourself with yes men, when you surround yourself with people who tell you exactly what you want to hear, sycophants, is that you become, you become, it's like the old school version of AI psychosis, right? Like, when you surround yourself with people who tell you exactly what you want to hear all the time, and you don't have the courage or the spine or the spirit or the mind to know better, you end up grossly overestimating your capacity to have an impact on the world. And I know this intimately because I'm a white man, right? And I mean, there's probably a more nuanced explanation than that, but like, I can tell you, like, there have been periods in my life, especially when like I was unquestioned, like I was succeeding on social media with my former company and stuff, and I was like taking all my time and energy and putting it into this other thing. Like, there's an exhilaration that comes from having your creative impulses and creative sparks satiated with feedback, with positive feedback from the universe. And I realized at some point that like there's a path where I could become like a cult leader or something like that, right? Because that's what happens is um you start to believe your own bullshit, and then you start to sell it to other people, and then it comes back around and bites you in the ass because you lose touch with reality and you think that you can do things that you can't do. You think that you delude yourself into believing that the impossible is possible. And you have all these like self-help stories and like biographies of successful tech entrepreneurs and stuff that are giving these messages out of like, you all you fake it till you make it, move fast and break things. If you believe it can be done and never give up, you can do incredible, extraordinary things. And it's this, there's truth to it, right? There's definitely truth to it. And then there's also like a revolutionary purpose behind that, right? Like revolutionary optimism is itself kind of a part of that, right? This belief that like it does not matter what obstacles get thrown in front of you. You continue to attempt, you continue to try, you continue to move forward. There's definitely something to that. But what happens when you actually are doing that all from this root fear, and when you decide not to respect reality, when the circumstances you're in politically, economically, socially allow you to like, it's like a little cheat code that you get to do, right? Like a little cheat code where you get to say, I don't I don't have to live in that reality because I have a bunch of people around me who will restructure reality on my benefit, for my favor, to show their loyalty to me, right? Like it's the tyrant's dilemma. I can choose to live in a fantasy world of my own creation where I am the smartest, most competent, most powerful person, and all of these detestable scum of the earth, working class peons will just have to just deal with it. And you get to a point where you are so brazen and overconfident that you forget that you are subject to natural law, and that the universe does not care about you. You are not special in the eyes of God. You are not special in the eyes of the cosmos. You are just another mewling dipshit like the rest of us. So if you want to have any modicum of success, you have to respect that the way that you have to respect a gun. It's power. And it's not universal, it's not unilateral. If you go out there and you allow your irresponsible, poorly trained shock troops to have complete impunity, and if you tell them as much with memos and with tweets, if you signal to them that they don't, and like Renee Good died, and the way that the story came out, like as soon as that happened, I knew that something bad was going to happen after, or I guess I knew that it was like a marked shift, because anytime like historically, like we've had police brutality cases that go that viral, it's like at the very least they like feign accountability, right? On the very least they feign that they're going to like retrain somebody, or that there will be a grand jury or something like that, right? Like at the very least sometimes they will throw a sacrificial lamb. But in that case they immediately moved to label her as a terrorist, and to say that she deserved it, and to say that the guy that did it was not going to face any consequences. And so they set the stage. They taught their soldiers that they didn't have accountability. And so then they went and they did it again, worse. And they did it to the worst guy they could have possibly done it to. Again, a white man who served veterans, who was only filming them, and who believed in the Second Amendment. So you don't even get the value, the culture shock value of like, this was a wokey who didn't believe in American rights and stuff, who like he was a whatever. He believed in the Second Amendment, the most sacred amendment to the vast majority of conservative voters in the country. And you gunned him down and said he deserved it because he had a gun. You are stupid. You are a moron. You are so high on your own supply that you don't realize that you just destroyed any plausible deniability about what you have become. And in order to successfully become a long-term fascist regime, you have to maintain that plausible deniability the whole time. And you failed. You failed the test because you couldn't control yourself because you're a bunch of petulant children. You all needed so much therapy, so much earlier than this. And now it's too late because you've already broken the thing. You can't fix it now. All you can do now, and this is the thing that I want us all to be, again, why I brought up the Epstein thing, is like, they have an existential need to stay in control. And they just shattered the foundation of that control. What do you think they're going to do in the weeks and months to come when they realize this isn't going to go away? What do you think they're going to do when they realize that their hold on power was just a flash in the pan? Do you think they're going to be rational? Do you think they're going to turn it over? Do you think they're going to stop doing hyperviolence to people in the streets, or do you think they're going to ratchet it up? As a person who has read books, I think they're going to ratchet it up. And I think that simultaneously means that it is more dangerous to do things that, like what I'm doing, just talking openly about it online. It's more dangerous to do that now because of that. And it's also more necessary that we all do that together, that we all stand up together. And that if there's anybody in your life that can't get it through their heads that this is the game now, that you can't, I don't know, like I'm struggling with that one because I love my parents. They have been ardent supporters of me. They have been by my side my whole life. I have the conservative half of my parents have been so important to me, and they have shown me true grace. They have shown me that you don't become a bad person just because you voted for Donald Trump, right? Like that's a huge part of like my worldview, is that like I've had people shallowly tell me that like Trump supporters are evil just by virtue of them supporting Trump, and then my conservative family members are the ones who like volunteer their time at soup kitchens and who hand out like care packages to homeless people on the streets, who are like so loving and kind and genuine in person. But if they can't see this, if they can't see what just happened and see how that, like what that means for our rights as American citizens, they're lost. And I can't make anybody see the light when the light is blaring into their face and they're choosing to pretend it's darkness. It's like I there's nothing more you can really say or do. Um so like it's very important, I think, that the people who understand the gravity of this moment lock arms. Like I've seen the NRA has called for an investigation, and I've seen that various chapters of the Libertarian Party, who is often characterized as like a bunch of right-wing idiots, they've called for investigations, right? Like, and if you are a Marxist or an anarchist or a leftist, I think it is very important that you don't destroy that solidarity that we have right now, because that's what the people in power need us to not see this as a moment of broad solidarity, like looking past a lot of things to understand that like it is so important as Americans that we do not let these people continue to get away with this gross abuse of our rights as citizens, and that we use, like, we should be flying American flags at protests, right? We shouldn't be burning them. We should be flying them. We should be allowing ourselves to utilize these arbitrary symbols for the value they contain, their capacity to bring us together as people, and to say that no, like, you're the idea that they're violating the Constitution is such a powerful part of this that, like, it is so critical that you don't sleep on that, and that you understand that, like, you should have the right to bear arms. You're an American citizen. I know that our gun culture is problematic and that there's a lot of issues with it, right? but like you you see why it's important now, right? I hope you do. I hope you understand why it is so important, because they will come for their guns. Even though they rode into office on the belief that like the Second Amendment people would always have their back. When they threaten the Second Amendment, that means that they are willing to come for your guns so that they never have to face accountability for being a bunch of elitist pedophiles. So like wake the fuck up. Cause if again, if there's hope for us to get out of this without massive violence, the only language these frickin' ghouls speak is money, is capital, is value, is labor. So we need a general strike. Like whether or not we can pull it off, that is a bigger question than I can answer. But we need it, because if we don't get it, it gets a lot uglier. If we don't get a general strike, if we don't withdraw our labor until somebody who does have martial power does some shit about this, like what, I don't know. I don't what else happens now, right? What do you think is going to happen? We need a general strike. That is the only nonviolent thing I can say, and actually believe I'm telling the truth. That like there's hope now, because they are killing Second Amendment honoring veteran nurses in the streets and saying that person deserved it because they were a domestic terrorist. It is so absurd. It's comical. If it wasn't so dire, it would be really quite funny that they think that they can get away with this, that they've gotten this far. And I guess maybe it's like I don't know that they can't. I haven't seen that they can't. I have faith that this is the moment that history will look back on and be like, yeah, if you're going to do a fascist regime, you got to not kill the VA nurses, man. That's a big one. That's a big one. The Second Amendment believing VA nurses, the legal observers, right? Can't kill those guys. Can't kill those guys. So, I don't know. Do we want to do some pancake requests? I have plenty of batter. I mean, I don't know if it just makes more sense for me to just sign off now. But like I said, I've got pancake batter. So we could switch the camera on the overhead and we could do some cooler pieces. It's up to you guys. I'd hate to waste it. Let me know. Ah. Oh yeah, I do have some private requests that I could probably do. You know what? No, I'm gonna do something pretty. Something like beautiful. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'll look something up. I'm gonna do something beautiful. Unless you guys have something else you want me to do. Let me poke around a little bit, see what I can find. Trying to think. I can think of like a piece of beautiful imagery that comes to mind. I have something in mind. It'll give me an opportunity to talk a little bit more about. That's really nice. Talk a little bit more about some of my spiritual feelings. So, I'm gonna do a lotus flower because they are very beautiful But more than that, there's a fantastic writer, thinker, Zen Buddhist meditator. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was pretty old, so like, you know, wasn't like tragic or anything like that. His name's Thich Nhat Hanh. I'll spell it in the chat actually, because he's worth looking into. And he wrote a bunch of, like, when I rediscovered learning, I rediscovered like the love of books in my early 20s after being kind of burned out on them because of the American education system and like what it does to gifted kids. And then I rediscovered my love of learning, and I started to get a bunch of, like, you know, honestly, self-help books, like, and I started with this guy, with Thich Nhat Hanh. And he wrote a book called The Art of Communication. He wrote a bunch of like the art of books. But his writing is very beautiful. The things he has to teach are very beautiful. And I remember there's a lot of times in lots of his work, I feel like he revisits some of the same sort of metaphors. And one of them he uses is the metaphor of a lotus flower, which I think I might actually pick a different picture. Yeah, I like this one more. This has much prettier. This is a prettier color palette. Yeah, that's really nice. It might be AI generated. I don't know that this is real, but it is pretty, so I'll use it. It's fine. I don't make the rules. But Thich Nhat Hanh uses the metaphor of a lotus flower to talk about like the purpose of suffering. And it feels relevant in this moment because we're talking about like a really dark time to be an American, to be a person, not just an American, but like a person in the world, you know? Like I follow a lot of alternate news sources on like Instagram and stuff. For instance, there's an account called Popular Front that is basically showcases videos from various like insurgent actions around the world, everywhere from, you know, the SDF and like the Kurdish forces in fighting in Syria to, you know, videos of like protest massacres happening in Iran, cartel violence in Mexico and South America. And it's hard to be a person right now. The world is at war, right? I feel like it would not be inappropriate to say that we are in World War III. It's just a really weird, decentralized global conflict. What happened there? Am I still streaming? Okay. I think my okay, my stream deck just freaked out. Okay, cool. I know the music's not going. I'm filling the dead air with my voice, so maybe I'll start the music again if I stop talking. But anyway, it's very hard to be a person right now, and there's a lot of conflict, and there's a lot of like senseless killing and death, and it is very easy to be despairing, right? And despair is what they want you to feel. You gotta remember that. You gotta remember that the people who are in control and want to maintain control, for them, despair is like manna from heaven. If the people are despairing and if the people are hopeless, then the people aren't a problem. The people are like slowly curling into a ball and dying. That's what they want you to do. That's what they need you to do, so they can replace you with robots, right? So Thich Nhat Hanh there's actually a couple of stories of his that end up being have been really valuable to me in terms of like helping me maintain my mental health in the face of hopeless, despairing circumstances. The lotus that I'm about to draw is it's the metaphor. He uses the metaphor to describe like how joy and happiness and joy, right? The joy of pancakes. Like you have to have darkness. You have to have mud to grow a lotus flower. You can't just have the nice, pretty thing on its own out of context because it needs the context to exist. The nutrition, the nourishment of a lotus flower exists in the mud. And like, this is a mud moment, right? Like, this is a moment of destruction, of rot, and people in high places having no morals, and decisions being made for horrible antisocial reasons, and people putting each other in categories of like acceptable to hate and dehumanize and kill one another. And you have to have moments like these so that people can be inspired to do the righteous work that has to be done to maintain their integrity in building something better. Because again, like I talked earlier about like Reagan and like the 80s and the corporate raiders and stuff. Like, people who had been raised in the lap of luxury grew to become paranoid and selfish because of that context, because they grew surrounded by lotus flowers to the point where they thought lotus flowers were the only thing that existed. And so they slowly strip mined all the things that made those beautiful things possible, so that now we're in a position where everything is mud, everything is filth. And there's like one or two lotus flowers that these psychopaths are desperately clinging to. And I know it's kind of, there's that like that meme of like great men create good times create weak men create hard times create great men. And it's like, part of the reason that meme sticks around is because there is a kind of like intuitive human logic to it. It's true, right? But like the problem with that, with when people use that, is that their definition of greathood, of great man, is like Andrew Tate, right? Like, it's like Donald Trump, like these actual imbeciles and unscrupulous liars and con men they're holding up as great men, without realizing that, like, by the like Confucian ancient Chinese definition, these are inferior people. These are like bad idiot morons, and we're giving them all the power. Um, but still, we have to have that. We have to have that stuff to get the rest of us to wake up to what actually is demanded of us. And um yeah, that's why I'm making a lotus flower, because that's the whole point. How about some music? What do you say? Oh yeah. I love being alive. I love being a part of this world. I love being privileged enough to experience this moment in time as opposed to any other moment in time. I'm grateful to my parents. I'm grateful to all the people who came before me. I'm grateful to the people who designed and developed the tools that I get to use. Everything from the machines that I'm using to stream it, to the griddle that's in front of me, and the special coatings, and the plastics, and all the things that are just so invisible that we take for granted every day, that make life pleasant or easy, that empower us to be co-creators of reality. I'm so grateful that you are in the chat with me, or if you watch this later on, I'm so grateful that your attention is going towards something and validating something that I'm putting out into the world and making it valuable through the simple fact that you're consuming it. I'm grateful for the books that I've had the privilege of reading. I'm grateful for reading, like Logos, the word, I'm grateful for having a brain that can process language and communicate with my fellow apes. I'm grateful that I have lungs. I'm grateful that I have eyes and that I can see. I'm grateful I have skin, even though it has issues sometimes. I'm grateful I have a home. I'm grateful for my wife, who's in the other room. I can hear them listening to the stream. I'm grateful for my family, even though I have some really deep disagreements with them in this moment. I'm grateful that they are alive and that they exist. And I'm hopeful that time will be gentle and that they will come around. I'm grateful to be from St. Louis. I love it here. I love this city. I love the people in this city. I love the culture. I love the attitude. I love the Midwest. I love America. I love my country. In the truest sense, I feel like I am a patriot, and like my anger and my frustrations and my resentment and my political mind stems from a desire to make this place I live in one that works for the people that live in it, myself included. It is truly a patriotic impulse. And I'm grateful that I was raised in such a way that I can see that. I'm grateful that I don't have abuse in my story that makes it so that I can't I'm not super secretive about the fact that I identify as a Christian. I'm grateful that I wasn't traumatized by a controlling or abusive sect of Christianity that made it so I didn't feel like I could identify as a Christian. I'm grateful that I have a good head on my shoulders. And that I can think clearly about things and question things and draw my own conclusions about things without being cowed or shamed or made to feel like I won't have access to the love of God if I am kind to the gays or something. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm not colorblind and that I can use color in my art in a way that translates well to other people. I'm grateful that hands work. I think even if they didn't, I would find a way to do art in some capacity. There was a oh, what is his name? There was a guitarist. He's like a famous guitarist. I think it was something Reinhardt. But he was I think he was Romani, from like the late 1800s, early 1900s, but he had been like thrown into a fire when he was a kid or something, and he only had like 1 or 2 fingers on one of his hands, and he developed this very distinctive style of music that you would only ever arrive at because of the inherent limitations of his body. And he made a whole career and made like a very distinctive artistic contribution to the world as a result of that. And like, you know, so it's like you can be grateful for anything. You can be grateful for being thrown into the fire and losing access to some of your freaking appendages. That doesn't have to hold you back. And on the contrary, it can be the thing that makes you a legend. It can be the thing that makes your story one that is valuable to the world for well after, like, it's a legacy. So, like, I don't know why I'm saying all this except just to point out that, like, I'm grateful for this moment in history. And that I get to witness it and be a part of it and feel like I'm doing something by talking about it. Like, how wonderful is it to live in this world, in this light, with these people and these problems? I could have died of dysentery. But I didn't. Yeah, this is gonna be nice. I think this will be a nice, pretty pancake. For sure. Uh-huh. And I think I'm gonna intentionally make this one a certain size so that it'll fit in a we've got these small plastic frames, and I think we're gonna start doing a little bit more active preservation. That's more like a red in there. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'll be honest, y'all, it feels very good to tell the truth. To use your whole body as like a vector for truth telling. To get online and say what you truly believe is real. And not just something that you think is going to get a bunch of clicks, and not something that you think is going to get you paid by, you know, a freaking super PAC or whatever, but like something you actually believe is true, and advocate for reality the way you see it, especially in these times. It feels really good. I encourage you to do it. I want to believe that there is value in it. And that over time, it will make a difference if we are all doing it together. One more, I think, splash of white in this. Yeah. There we go.
I saw it when I walked, boy.
See, a little bit of. Oh, don't melt my fucking. Hey, lover. How's it going?
It's going really good. Guess what I made?
What did you make?
It required 10 eggs.
Oh my god. Custard?
I made flan.
Flan.
It's just a type of custard.
Wife in here making flan. What are we gonna do about that? We gonna eat all that flan?
Eventually, yeah. It's ube.
Ube flan?
Yeah.
I just get to hop off of the stream and go get some ube flan?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was a little shocked at the 10 eggs, but I've been craving custard, as you know, so.
Yeah, I guess it's custard time.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules.
Literally, you don't. I made them. I love you.
I love you too. Bro, what is this charmed life I'm living? And I'm just in here making pancake art, and then I get to hop off stream and go and get some ube flan. I don't know, some of us are just winning. The colors of the land. I'm gonna need to replace some of these tips soon. Definitely getting to that point. Am I really gonna do the whole reflection? I know, ube flan. It's all about the flan, man. Feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing the reflection like this. Like maybe this is overcomplicated. Oh, right, and if I want to keep it a certain size. Yeah, we're actually just gonna undo all that. We're gonna just give it more of a simple background. As much as I would like to do the reflection, I need to make sure this is small enough to fit in one of our 7-inch frames, which if I put a border around this, that might become kind of, so we're gonna do, I will be using like a couple of different real trick with this technique is to, if you are sufficiently high away from the griddle, and if your batter is thin enough, which right now it's, yeah, you will occasionally get those kind of splatters, which is, I would say, desirable. You have to make sure that you hit a drop with another drop, so you can't move too fast. And you have to have enough velocity in those drops that when they hit each other, they explode like that. Yeah. Who doesn't love a good skadoosh? Give me that. There we go. That'll do. We'll do a little bit of pink. Sufficiently high, that's right. Now, I am pretty partial to pinks, blues, and yellows because they are very pleasant and they are also the colors of the pan flag. And we are pancake artists, so, you know, it only makes sense. We'll do this surrounded in white. So yeah, I have not seen any really requests in the chat at the moment, so that's cool. I think I might just wind down after this. I definitely feel like I said what I needed to say, and I feel a lot better than I did before, because, you know, I created something. I made something with my feelings. Yeah. I do have, my intuition tells me that if I do more talking, that we'll have more material to get more people to come watch the stream. Current events, you know, things that are on my mind. Thank you. I think this is gonna look pretty sick too. Yeah. It's wild that this all happened during like a historic, well, historic, during a significant, a notable like snowstorm. Like, can you imagine how massive these protests would have become immediately if we were in the springtime? Like, you had to get over the very deeply human, like, physical resistance to being in -10-degree weather to go and be a part of that big protest in Minneapolis, and there were tens of thousands of people there. Like, they messed up. They messed up bad. There's another Thich Nhat Hanh anecdote that I like to think about when things are crazy and scary. And he talks about how, like, the energy of mindfulness, right? Like, focusing on your breathing, being grateful for your breathing, being grateful for the things that are in your immediate control, not the abstract things, the fears of the future, the shames and worries of the past, but the things directly in front of you, accessible right now. He talks about, like, being on a refugee boat in Vietnam and, like, people being very afraid, and they were panicking, and that he observed a sort of an energy of mindfulness emanating from him and a couple of other monks and spreading through the people close to them that calmed people down and gave them more clarity of thought. And I think sometimes people will think like, you don't need to be calm, you need to be activated. But I think people need to learn that there's a difference between being activated and being reactive. And that there's actually a physiological phenomenon that happens in the brain in high stress, which is that when you're afraid, your brain redirects blood flow and oxygen flow to your limbic system. Redirects it away from your prefrontal cortex, which is where you make like rational decisions and like long-term thinking. It's like a fight or flight response, right? So when you're afraid, you become less rational and easier to control, manipulate, and get you to do dumb things. It's part of the reason that racism is so useful to the powers that be. That like if you are convinced that Sharia law is coming to take away your rights, you can literally be convinced to hand them away to somebody that isn't using Sharia law to take them. But by the same token, you can make people calm and more rational and better and more effective at resisting that kind of action if you are cultivating that energy of like gratitude, mindfulness, presence of mind. It's gonna be okay. And whether it is or it isn't, it's gonna be okay. It has to be. It's the only rational way to conduct your affairs in the face of this kind of stuff. So think about that. All right, here we go. A lotus flower. It's gonna be pilled a little bit, I can tell. I didn't cook it hot enough, fast enough, but that's okay. Here we go, gang. Flip number 2. 3, 2, 1. Happy with that. Yeah. That's really nice. Sunbeam. Making it a little bit harder to see. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We're gonna do a couple things real quick. Snap a photo of that. We're gonna throw my Alex Pretti portrait back over here. Because again, the whole point, the reason I picked the lotus flower was because of what it represents. This murder was very tragic, as well as all the other murders, right? You know, and I talked about how like why I've picked him being the most recent and most flagrant, that there is a lot of, I think, political capital in pointing out the blatant violation of the social contract that this man's death brings to mind. But he's not the only one who has died, and I almost guarantee you he's not going to be the only one. I mean, shit, I might fucking die, right? Like, none of us are safe, and that's the point. None of us are safe from this kind of tyrannical overreach. And, like, you know, something that I've spoken about with a couple of other dear friends of mine is that like the genocide in Gaza, which is ongoing, right? Like it's become like kind of a nothing burger because there's so little that we feel we can do. But the genocide in Gaza is like the people, they're not far away. Those aren't strangers. Those are us. Those are people just like you and me. They've been dehumanized. They've been deemed as obstacles to the expansion of capital and ownership and the psychopathic real estate developers who want to turn that place into a new Riviera. Like, it's a tale as old as time. When this stuff happens, until we wake up, until we collectively wake up and do something about it, it is an attack on you personally. It is an attack on your family, your loved ones. That they are our family. The people in Gaza, the people in, like, the people of the working families of the world, the people who don't have the power and agency to play chess with geopolitical pieces like it's a freaking hobby. All of us are on the same side. We have to be on the same side, and we have to understand that when the human rights of one of us are under attack, they are under attack for all of us. So, like, get it through your head. If it's not already, you gotta get it through your head. And if it is, we need to be louder than ever. We need not to be protecting our social media accounts so that we can, like, make more money in case. Oof, that's something that really gets under my skin, is the sort of cynical calculation of, like, I can't advocate for people because I might lose business. It's like, dude, you're gonna lose so much more than business, and you're gonna wish you had. You're really gonna wish you had, so don't wait. Like, get on the right side of history and be loud about it, because if now is not the time, there won't be a time. And by the time there it is the time for you, it's like that old poem. There's not going to be anybody there to stand up for you. And you're going to deserve it, I guess, right? You'll deserve what happens at that point. Like, it's not even like deserving it is not that, it's too moralistic, but it will be kind of an inevitability. So, like, now's the time. What's the song ID? This is Celestial Rewind by Harris Heller. How do I, The link has been copied to your clipboard for convenience. Allegedly. There it goes. There you go. Yes, we are way further along in that poem than a lot of people realize. Yeah, we're certainly not... It didn't just start, that's for sure. Right? Like, I don't know if you saw, and I don't know, that's part of the problem with the modern world right now, is that, like, it's very hard to trust a lot of what you see. It's very hard to trust a lot of, like, statistics and stuff. But, like, I saw the other day that, like, the official death toll in Gaza, it's like over 500,000 people, right? And that's a conservative estimate. They're continuing to blow buildings up. They are continuing to illegally settle in the West Bank. They're continuing to call anybody who criticizes any of that anti-Semitic. It's insane. It's insane, and it's all part of the same thing, right? Like, it's not like that's a separate dragon that we have to fight. No, it's all the same monstrous, psychopathic, unchecked capitalism, profit-seeking, using any kind of whatever, any ideology that will let them get away with it, they will use. And they have no morals, they have no backbone, all they have is audacity. All they have is audacity. Flagrant disregard for the norms and rights and anything that would ever check them. An inability to accept that they've done wrong. A malignant pathological narcissism that isn't just at the root of them as individuals, but at their entire system. Their whole structure of power is built on this refusal to take accountability when they've done harm. And our society, our system has elevated and rewarded that for far too long, and it will continue to do so until we realize that's what's happening and take issue with it. And at least for me, I think what that looks like is I guess, consequences on my family members with regards to our relationship. Like, it's not... Nothing is really enough to make up for the people that we've already lost just in the last year or two. But we gotta start somewhere. So. That's all I got for today, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will... we're here every Tuesday, starting at 10 a.m. Hang out, we make pancakes, talk about our feelings, and I hope that you'll join me some Tuesday in the future. Otherwise, maintain revolutionary optimism. It's gonna be okay. And things are changing. And now we get to see how. Y'all have a beautiful afternoon. I'm gonna go sample some ube flan. Doop. Auf Wiedersehen.